All right, so for this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to do layer masking using a paintbrush. So I have right now two layers. My top layer is the picture of the cat. If I hide it, if I hide the eye, I can see the background layer is the sunflowers. And I want to combine these two. And there's a couple different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you how to select with a mask so that I can get my cat to be in the foreground and the sunflowers to be in the background. And I'll have to start by removing this black background first. First thing you want to do is make sure that the colors you have selected are black and white. You want to have the black on top and the white beneath. And the way to switch that is you can click this little toggle button right there. And if there are colors here, like red or yellow instead of black and white, you can hit, there should be a D key, and you can hit that so that it goes back to black and white.
Two little arrows.
Then I make sure that the layer I want to manipulate is selected, and I can tell because it is grayed out. And then I'm going to come down here to create a mask, and I'm going to find the little icon. It's the same thing in Photoshop. It's a little rectangle with a little circle cut out from it. And this lets me create a mask on that layer. And these two images are united by this link, which means what happens to this layer happens to this layer. And when you're manipulating this white box, that is what is creating a mask. So you want to make sure you have this white box selected before you do anything else. And then, like I said, you want to make sure black is selected. And you want to go up to the brush tool. And when you click on this, it's going to give you some options. You can change these up, and we will go into that a little bit more in other tutorials. You don't quite have to worry about it at this moment. The thing you might want to worry about is this icon right here that represents what brush you're picking and what size it's going to be and what hardness it's going to be. So it's a good idea to start with like a medium-sized brush, so somewhere in the middle. And the hardness, that's up to you to decide, but I prefer to work with something a little higher up on the hardness scale. Okay, now here's where the magic starts to happen. If I start marking it, you'll see that the background is starting to come through. I'll hit Command Z to get rid of that. If I were to mark on top of my cat, then it's just this black paint splotch. So you really want to make sure you're selecting, and you can see I'm clicking back and forth between the two. I'm selecting that white masking block. Okay, that way I can start working on where I actually want it to go. And one really clear-cut way to note if this effect is happening, or just like an easier way to conceptualize what's going on here, is that it shows up over here in your little white masking layer. It shows this big black section of what is being revealed. And then you can adjust the size of that paintbrush by either clicking the brackets keys. The bracket to the right makes it bigger, the bracket to the left makes it smaller. Or you can go into that icon we showed earlier to adjust the size. And just depending on what kind of project you're working on, that will decide how you want to work with this kind of tool. This might not be the best one for something that's like really intricate, but since we just have one object and one background that we're working with, it's kind of working out just fine. But really I just wanted to give you guys this example of how a masking layer works. Okay, and then you can look over here in the little icon of the mask, and you can see I've really made this like clear outline of the positive and negative space. And then if I accidentally go too far in or make a mistake, I can just swap out my colors down here. My black and white will switch, and I'll grab the white, and with the paint brush, I will just Use white to bring that image back. There we go.